This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
And welcome to this special edition of the Detroit Sports Podcast. I am your host, Vito Jerome Churko from Tigers Talk of Churko and Company. And my guest today is Mr. Terry Tyler, formerly of the University of Detroit Mercy men's basketball team there when it was the University of Detroit, and formerly of the Detroit Pistons as well, and former NBAer in Terry Tyler. Terry, how's it going?
Not bad. Good morning, Vito, and good morning, Detroit. Good morning, University of Detroit Mercy. How y'all doing?
Very good. Good morning, everybody, as well here alongside Terry Tyler, who is joining me courtesy of the Top Cat Sales phone line as well. Now, to start off, we chatted yesterday before this interview about how you played for Dick Vitale, and he coached you for your first 3 years at the then University of Detroit and emphasized togetherness. How did Vitale go about getting his point across about togetherness, and how much did he help unify you and your teammates at U of D?
First of all, he recruited, me very heavily, and of course with John Long and Toronto Anderson, Dave Grouser, and Kevin Cassetta. And I think it started back when we were freshmen, and we were coming in, with good, publicity, local. He recruited locally. Everybody thought, some people were for it. Some, were, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. Some people thought with the reputation coming out of Detroit, I would have went someplace else. But I think being home locally really was helpful, just not for me. But my mom and dad got to see me play every game, my brother. So it was good. And I think one of the things is one of his selling points, he said, wouldn't you like to play, wouldn't you like to feel, Callahan Hall up, watch the fans come and watch you play at home locally. And I said, yeah. And I just, fell in love with the place. Growing up, I've always, went past the University of Detroit Mercy's campus and everything. So it was like almost like a homecoming, And, one of the things you talk about togetherness, I think we knew each other, coming in as freshmen. So, and we got to know the other teammates and everything. But I think he also was teaching us responsibility and everything. And we had to go out when we went to lunches. We had to stand up and speak to the alumni and everything. So, we just couldn't how can I say, when we had fundraisers, when we had lunches, when we had big dinners, he wanted us to expose ourselves in a way that, people knew us just not as basketball players, but also as people. And I think that's something that really helped us in the long run. And, like I told you yesterday, when we talked about the team, it didn't matter whether if you were, a starter coming off the bench or a walk-on, we worked together. It was a brotherhood, and we pulled for each other. And, it was constructive criticism, if someone wasn't working hard, somebody was slacking off, hey man, let's pick it up a little bit. And it wasn't being negative. It was just, you were trying to motivate that player, hey man, let's push a little harder today. And I think, just giving each other support and everything, I want to, give a shout out, to one of my teammates, Richie McDermott, who was a walk-on. And through the years, Richie and I have stayed close. We talk to each other. We see how each other we're doing and everything, because it just didn't end there when I left the University of Detroit Mercy. It just didn't end right there. I think we stayed in contact with each other. I've had the luxury of, being very, very gracious and having Earl Curitan play with John and me when we were with the Pistons, and again, Earl Curitan being from Detroit. So that meant a lot, It really, when I look back at it, it really, having guys that were local and being around them really helped me get through some tough times, When we weren't playing well, you always had someone there, to talk to, and let's pick it up, And we went out there, and that's what we did. So it was good to really have people like that around.
And Terry, you already brought up one of your very notable teammates at U of D during your 4 years at the university, and fellow former Detroit Piston, John Long. He became the lightning.
Yes, sir.
He became that lightning to your thunder Terry, over 4
Right.
very productive years at then U of D under Dickie V. How did those nicknames
Yes.
come to be?
Reed, I'm going to tell you, you got to give credit to the person that gave it to us, and that was Coach Vitale. I guess, as much as he loves doing interviews and everything, he gave us everybody, around the country at that time, had nicknames. I remember Ernie Grunfeld and Bernard King was the Ernie and Bernie show. So I think Dick saw something and went with it. He used our names, those nicknames, as our style of play. John Long was lightning because of his slashing, his style of play, how he could get him, and how he could get himself open, coming off of screens and everything. How he slashed to the basket, his quickness, his rebounding and everything. And then of course I got my nickname by Thunder because of my shot blocking ability and my rebounding. So it stuck, Thunder and Lightning. And I always will say this: you're gonna get, and you do it. You can do with this what you want to do with it. Without lightning, there was no thunder, and when lightning flashed, thunder struck. So you do what you want to do. You do with that what you want to do. I'm gonna give you that one.
I love that. Very fitting. Very fitting. And without thunder, there was no lightning either, right? Without lightning, no thunder. Without thunder, no lightning.
I gotta tip my hat to lightning first. I gotta tip my hat to lightning first.
Well, very well. Yeah.
That's how it was. And you know what, Vito? The great thing about it is it's stuck. Don't ask me why, but it's stuck. But you know what else? And I meant to tell you this. Living up to that. You talk about reputations. We represented the University of Detroit Mercy. Again, not just on the court, but off. We loved it. I love the University of Detroit Mercy. And I love the student body there. The people, the men, the young men and women that I went to school with. And that's something we talked about yesterday. That camaraderie that went along with it. It was great going to class. It was great to have that support. And I think that's something that will stay with me the rest of my life.
And Terry, you and John represented the University of Detroit Mercy very well during your days there. Now, how did your on and off the court chemistry with John blossom over your time playing together with both the Titans and then the Pistons?
Well, I think it was a rarity. First of all, Coach Vitale took a risk on us, drafting us. We knew the system, but nothing was given to us. And we had to go in there and we had to prove ourselves. And I think the work ethic that we had in college, and I always will give credit to, first of all, to our trainer, Jack Morris. We had our assistant coach, Mike Brunker, Smokey Robinson, Smokey Gaines, I almost said Smokey Robinson, Smokey Gaines, David Smokey Gaines. At that time, my freshman year, Jim Boyce, who left and, went somewhere else. But I think, having those resources there, that nucleus, but, being taught that work ethic was everything. I mean, everything. It wasn't about being, being a gifted athlete. It wasn't about how high you jumped. It was about putting the time in, being committed and investing into it. And we drilled. I mean, we conditioned. We ran. We ran the miles. We put in the work. However, I think it carried over to the NBA. Again, putting in the conditioning, putting in the miles, investing, being committed. Of course, we didn't have the weight programs and weight rooms like they have now, but we did do the necessary things to keep ourselves in shape. We saw how it paid off for us in college, and we figured, if it could happen in college, I know it'll definitely work in the pros, and I think that's why we had success, and I think we have longevity in that league because it is a man's league. It's a player's league, and you're battling for a job every year. You got to prove yourself. You're playing against the greatest basketball players in the world, and I think that being taught that discipline really, really helped us. And I think we were also, we had to be example to the underclassmen as well as freshmen that were coming in. We had to show them that, hey, man, you're just not going to walk on the court and all of a sudden you click the light on and it's going to happen for you. We had to show them that, you got to put the time in when You show up early, to work on your game, but then again, you stay late to work on your game as well, and that's what it was about.
So, Terry, you and John had the pleasure of playing for the aforementioned Dick Vitale for 4 full seasons and then 12 games during the 79-80 NBA regular season before Dickie V was let go by the Pistons. Now, you have so many stories, I bet, to tell about Dick Vitale. So, could you please share one with my listeners and I today that exemplifies the kind of coach that Vitale was?
Oh my God! You put me on a. You've gotten really good at this, Vito. Let me tell you.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you want a coach Vitale? So you want one from college, or you want one from the pros?
Either or.
The college ones are more fun.
Well, let's get one of those. Then. Let's have some fun.
The college ones are more fun. I never forget, bear with me, I never forget my freshman year, we had our Christmas tournament, and I never forget this. We had lost to Eastern Michigan. Someone hit a jump shot at the buzzer, and we lost. It was, we were cutting our teeth. It was a hard pill to swallow. We were young, was a young team and everything, and we lost. That following year, one of the things Coach Vitale was, he still remembered. I know it left a bad taste in his mouth because it left a bad taste in our mouth. We never forgot how that felt. He said, you don't lose in your tournament. You don't host a tournament and you can't even make it to the championship game. So I'll never forget the opening night. We opened up against Wyoming, and it was a battle with seesaw back and forth, but we won and we were able, to get to the championship game against Kent State. And a former Cass Tech Detroit high school basketball player by the name of Tony Davidson was playing for Kent State. And Vito, the game started and everything, and they came out blazing. I mean, they came out hot. They were hitting shots. We were breaking down defensively. I remember I didn't come over to rotate and help on a layup, and they scored. And I'll never forget this halftime speech, if you could call it that. We're sitting there, and it's quiet, and nobody's saying nothing. And back then, the locker room is not as big as it was back then. So the first door from the hallway we heard open, and then and then there was that second door that he came in, and he kicked in. I say he opened the door very, very aggressively, okay? So he's looking at us, and he's got this look in his face. And let me tell you, he's looking at us. He said, defense. You call yourself defensive ball players, huh? He's looking at us and everything. And this is what he said. He said, if you don't go out there and win this game, after the game, we're going to have one of the most gruelingest practices you've ever had. And let me tell you, we went out, we came back. I think we might have been down 17, 16 points at halftime. We came out there and we won that game in overtime. That is a true story.
That's pretty impressive then. And Vitale really turned around the ship and got it righted, it sounds like, too, with that halftime speech.
Let me tell you. We kicked it in gear when we had to kick it in gear. We did. Yes, we did.
And Vitale was a large reason why then when you played for him at Detroit Mercy, when you played for him with the Pistons, but he struggled with the Pistons, going 34-60 in one full season and then another 12 games as Pistons head man. And that was it for Vitale as a head coach in the association. So I've got to ask you, what do you think made Vitale unfit to be an NBA head man? Why do you think he struggled and ended up flaming out so quickly in the NBA as a head coach?
I always felt Coach Vitale, he was better suited in the college game. And that's not a knock toward him. I'm not trying to criticize his style. But I always felt his personality fitted the college game because of the way the college game is. And even now, how he announces the game. He knows it. He has such a instinct for it. It's a feel that is unbelievable. And that's how he coached us. I think it was easy for John and I to deal with it. But I think, it is a big difference 82 games versus 27 games. I just think he had, preparation is everything. And if Brace could have, gone his way a little bit better, who's to say what could have happened? But it did. Those things, at that level, some things just don't go your way. And he didn't get the breaks, and it's unfortunate. But one of the things that I appreciated, when I hear him announce now, it's almost like he's coaching again. And I think that's the one thing I appreciate watching the college game, because he points the game out to the audience. He's able to break the game down, show things on what's happening, and you pick up on that stuff. And it's kind of, I always chuckle about it, because I like this man. I said, Coach, Coach Vitale is still coaching. If there's an instant replay, there's a big play or something that happens, whether it's on defense or offense, he always show that instant replay. His favorite word is freeze it right there. He's coaching. He's pointing that he's breaking the game down in such a way that you understand what happened in that sequence. And that's the beauty of him, He lives and breathes basketball. That's who he is.
And really,
he loves it.
He's a college hoops ambassador now too. He really is.
Oh, absolutely.
Through his broadcasting, what he's done for the game.
Oh man, absolutely. And I'm so honored when I tell people that I played for Coach Vitale in college. The response, their expression on their faces. They say, I never knew he coached college basketball. I said, well, yeah, he did. Their mouths drop open. They say, I can't believe it. I said, oh yeah, he coached. I said he's a little bit more laid back announcing, but his intensity level, holy cow, is off the roof.
Yeah, the energy level is still there to a high level too.
You could just tell. And that's who he is. And I think that's what he instilled in John and I. That's what he instilled in the University of Detroit's program. When we were introduced, we just didn't trot out there. We were fired up to get. We wanted the game to get going. We were hungry. We were thirsty, and that's what he instilled in us. So I always say 82 games weren't nothing. I look forward to playing 82 games. I look forward to the NBA season. But again, that started back in college. I was going to play every game like it was my last game, because that's what you're supposed to do it. Like I always say when he announces now, and I always say this, and I talk to Coach Vitale off and on. I give him a call to check on him, see how he's doing. I always rib him. I say, Coach, I like that. There's only one intense guy. When there's a North Carolina Duke game and he's going to do it, I said there's only one intense guy in the building, and that's him. If he could get out there and start coaching, he would. I always joke with him and say, you must have a clause in your program in your contract stating that you have to wear a seatbelt at that game, because you just might jump out there and start coaching, man. Because he gets intense. He gets into it, and that's great.
He loves Duke. He loves college hoops, and he lives and breathes it. I mean, he preaches it in his voice. You can tell that he loves it, and it's great to see as a college basketball fan too, watching those broadcasts on ESPN with him broadcasting games.
And that's the beauty, and that's the thing, and the message that he says he gives these young players. He'll let you know if you're ready to. I've heard him say, give yourself a chance to develop, mature a little bit. Those are the things he told John and me and his basketball teams at the University of Detroit. He said, you gotta work at it. You just don't want to be the mediocre ball player, as he would tell us. You don't want to be one of the fellas. You want to rise above everybody else. And that's what it was. And when I look back at it, that's what it was always about. Rising above it. Just because, I think one of the things I always say, the unique thing about the university's campus, it's not out in the middle of nowhere. It's in a community. It's the inner city, but it's a beautiful private Jesuit college that I was a part of, and that I had great relationships with my instructors and definitely with my priest there. And that was the beauty of it. Getting to know people, and I think that's the thing he really instilled in us. That just don't be a basketball player, be more. Rise to every game, rise to the occasion. And that's what he preached to us. And I think that's the messages to this day I still remember.
Former Detroit Mercy Titan and Detroit Piston and NBA player Terry Tyler on with me for this special edition of the Detroit Sports Podcast, courtesy of the Top Cat Sales phone line. And let's turn our attention now to current Pistons head coach Stan Van Gundy. And what do you think has made him a great fit as Detroit head coach so far?
Well, I think he was, I think he deserves a lot more credit than what he gets. He again, here's not prime example. Coach Van Gundy is, I see in him as a teacher. He and people sit up there, you say you can't teach pros. Yeah, you can. He's taken them and he's taken that Detroit Piston organization and he's bringing it back to national, recognition again. And I think, one or two more players away from, competing for a national, NBA championship again. But I think he's a coach that works hard. He's intense. He preaches. One thing I noticed that he wants his players to do is to play defense. And the man can barely talk at the end of a game. So I know what he's saying. If you play defense, you win. Defense wins games. And I think he's taking those ball players that, that are willing to work on their game to get better, and he has made them better. So he's good. He's a good coach. He's a great teacher.
So how about this season for the Pistons now? Are you bullish on the Pistons' odds of winning 50 games this season?
I think that, hoping that nobody gets injured, that plays a part sometimes, and the team can peak at the right time and they can gel together. Sure they can. Why not? They had a taste of, the playoffs last year. Let's see what they can, let's see if this can carry over and they can make a run at it this year. It's not going to be easy, but, you go out there and you play, and, and you don't sit there, you don't wait, for a pass. You make it happen now. So we'll see.
Well, Stan Van Gundy has established himself as the Pistons head coach. Now, a man that is trying to do so at Detroit Mercy for the men's basketball program is Bakari Alexander. Do you think he's the right man to get the basketball program jump-started and headed in the right direction?
Well, I think Coach Alexander, first of all, he's a former Titan, which always helps. He's spent some time up at the University of Michigan. Am I correct on that? I think he did as assistant coach. So I think that he's an individual that's going to be able to recruit, and that's big. And we talked about this yesterday. I think he's going to have to, again, go out into the community, get the name players that are going to fit into his program that he sees, that can fit into the program and everything, and make it happen. Also, I'll just throw this out there. I think, especially in the inner city of Detroit, the Catholic schools play. I still think it's a great league, competitive league. I still think you need to go get, to get that, build that fan base up. Go recruit you some Catholic players. Don't let them leave. Don't let a player leave and then that player is going to go someplace else and sit down for 2 years and then decide to play. Go get a player from the Catholic League that that can step in right away and play. That's going to play, and you can and Coach Alexander can help that kid develop and help that program win. It makes the world of difference. I've always enjoyed our Catholic League in Detroit. They are very competitive. Basketball players, those young men play very hard, and they have a fan.
And Terry, the key really is to get these players to stay on board for 3 or 4 years as well. We were talking about this yesterday off the air about getting guys that will stay instead of going to the league after one season. And I think the advantage of going to a smaller school like Detroit Mercy is that you are probably going to stay. And then if you do, you develop, become a better ball player for the university that you're playing for in college, and then you become better off, I think, more well off going into the league because you're more prepared right away to play.
Right. And I agree with you 100% on that because, first of all, talk about, we talking about staying 3 years. First of all, if you're gonna go to the University of Detroit, you got the potential to go to the NBA. Make sure you're there, you're getting that time, you're getting the play, so you're getting this opportunity to ready yourself, to better yourself. And after that third or fourth year, let's say it goes, a young man, Coach Alexander recruits a young man that has that potential, and he explodes in college basketball. and he stays 3 years. Between that time at the University of Detroit Mercy, he's conditioning. He's working on his game. He has an idea, the position he's going to be in. Well, maybe he'll be a big guard, Maybe he'll be a small forward. Take that time to work on your skills. And not only that, he has this opportunity to mature, to discipline himself, because I don't care what nobody says. Just like in the NBA, you can only play 5, but you don't want to put, a young man doesn't want to put himself in a position yet, to where they go up early and all of a sudden they're the 10th and 11th man, and now they're not in the rotation at all. You don't want to get lost in the numbers game. You want to be able to go to the league, and you want to, play right away. Even if it's coming off the bench, you want to be in that someone in that rotation. You want to be on somebody's team that you're going to play and you're going to contribute right away. And I think that's the thing that, and I get into these arguments. Don't get me wrong, the money's great and everything, but I think, first of all, you go to college to get your education anyway. I think that a young man, if they could stay for maybe 3 years, 4 years at the most, then you're ready. But if you try to go and you're going to stay 1 or 2 years, then all of a sudden you're lost in the shuffle, because the NBA is always going to, have players coming in. And the NBA is never, I don't think the NBA is ever going to go bankrupt. I shouldn't say that, but, anything can happen, but I doubt it. But I think that, if you're not one of those big-time ball players that they're talking about being in the green room, you're not a lottery pick, stay 3 to 4 years, get yourself mentally ready, get your body physically ready for that type of that grind, and you come in and you're prepared, and you have no regrets at all.
And Terry, speaking of big-time players who were lottery picks, got to bring up Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors and forming this super team in Golden State. What is your opinion on super teams in the NBA? Is it bad for the league?
No, you know what? No, I don't think so. I mean, you want, people. That's a two-part answer. One, people are going to come see you play. It worked in Miami with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. So you can't. I'm not going to sit up here and say it can't work. I think that you have to. The money's one thing. But it's about. In their case, it's about winning a championship. They're going to win. Is it going to be easy? Not in that league. You're going to have to play. But, and that's the thing, and if you want to put a super team together, it's got to be, you got to have the right people, and that's my opinion. I think it'll work. Golden State's been there before. It's just a matter of, them gelling together at the right time, and it'll work.
Terry, I've got a beef with big men in the league. Big men in all walks of life that try to shoot free throws. And it seems like they never can cut it. These big men never can shoot free throws. Now, you shot fairly well. I looked up your stats, Terry. You shot at a clip of 70.3% from the free throw line in your NBA career. So I got to give you a big props for that, because you got a guy like Andre Drummond who struggles so mightily at the line. I believe his career percentage is something of 38% in his NBA career, which is just despicable. And then I start thinking, well, why doesn't this guy try to shoot underhanded? What are your thoughts on that about Andre Drummond, specifically about what he should do to right himself at the line, and should he consider shooting underhanded at the charity stripe? I mean, you've had guys like Rick Barry, an NBA Hall of Famer, do it, and do it very effectively as well.
Well, to talk about the style that Rick Barry had, some athletes think it's not, it's not macho. It's basically you shooting like a girl and everything else. But like you said, Rick Barry shot 90-some% as a career shooting underhanded, so I can't knock it. I think that what Mr. Drummond has to do is that he's just got to spend time in the off season, of course, spend time during the season, coming in before practice, after practice, and working on your touch, and that's what basically free throws are. It's concentrating and establishing a touch, on your shot. And you have to have that. It's a soft touch. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care how advanced the game is. Games are still won and lost at the free throw line. During the playoffs, they had, Hacker Drummond, Cleveland was, following him, sending him to the line because they knew he wasn't going to make it. But I think you have to be able every professional, and I'm just saying this, every professional needs to, be able to shoot free throws a decent percent, 65, 68% plus. At least going to the line, at least hit one.
Right, hit one at least. You can't miss both.
Hit one.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get fouled. He's a strong man around the basket. Let's say he's developing himself into being one of the most dominating big men in the league. Well, add to that, if you're going to foul, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to go to the line and I'm going to complete my 3-point play. Blake Griffin with the Clippers, soft touch for a big man, And I think that's something that, when you talk about getting to the playoffs, and winning championships, you got to, everybody's got to step up and, hit those free throws. And then when it comes down to contract time, you have something to negotiate with. So you just don't want to limit yourself into being, well, I'm just a dunker, and that's it. I can dunk the basketball. You have to be able to, to show your versatility, show that you can face the basket, put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket, pump fake and drive around somebody, being able to pass out the double team. But more than that, be such a threat that when you step up to the free throw line that you're confident and that you can sink them when it's crucial, when the game is crucial.
Well, simply to me, white men can't jump and big men can't shoot free throws for whatever reason, Terry. And why do you think that is? Why a lot of big men do struggle? We know about Drummond, but there are so many other guys that struggle as well. So what makes it tough for a guy that is larger than life and maybe 6'9", really starting at 6'8", and above? It seems like those guys primarily or to a large degree struggle at making those shots from the charity stripe.
Well, you said that, when you said white man can't jump, I had to laugh at that, what you just said. Because the white guys I played against in the NBA, oh yeah, they could jump. Trust me, I got dunked on. I got dunked on a few times.
A little bit different in the association,
they can jump now.
Yeah.
White man can't jump is just a movie. Let me tell you.
You know from experience.
But to answer your question, I think it's something that you and I had talked about earlier in this interview. I think it comes down to practice and commitment, investing in it. And to their credit, it's not that they want to step up there and miss on purpose. They're not trying to miss on purpose. I don't think they are. They're trying to make it. But again, it comes down to commitment. I think it just comes down to being in the gym, taking the time out and just practicing, finding that right touch, finding that form. You have 10 seconds to shoot, and you just have to take the time out to do it. One of the things that, at the University of Detroit, when Coach Vitale had us, we had to, come in our spare time if we weren't doing anything, shoot 100 free throws. It may sound crazy, but I guarantee you, I bet you Steph Curry is taking 1,000 shots, working on his game. So what does that tell you? So if that's the case, then take the time out, go in and set a goal for yourself. Well, today I want to, shoot 10, make 10 in a row. Today I want to make 25 in a row. I'm going to take 100 free throws, but I'm going to try to make half of them. I'm going to try to make 75 of those shots. And that's how it becomes mental after a while. From mental, it just becomes automatic. You just step up there, and you just do it.
So dedicate yourself to it, to the craft, to get better at it, and then you probably can. And Mr. Tyler, I'll let you go with this. One specific thing I learned today from you is that white men truly can jump, at least when you get to the league. We know that much now after this interview, Terry.
Yeah, they can.
We know
Trust
that
me.
much.
I'm telling you. Yes, they can.
Well, very good. And you know what? You got to dedicate yourself as well to being a great man, and I believe you are, Mr. Tyler, as well. So I appreciate all your time.
Vito, it's always, first of all, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I'm glad I've gotten to know you. We haven't met personally yet.
We got to meet in person now. Sometime soon, I'm hoping.
That's the next step. But, when you talk about the University of Detroit Mercy and you talk about the things that helped me get me there, it only fills my heart. It humbles me in such a way that I express myself very fondly of the people that helped me to get there. Detroit is my town. I am a product of Detroit, Michigan, and I am so proud of that. And the people that, that were there, you talk about Thunder and Lightning, you talk about Sweet Dew and Wilbur McCormick, Puritan, and that whole team. One of the things, you talk about free throws. I tell you, one of my teammates that he lives in Atlanta, I think he lives outside of Atlanta now, is Kevin Cassetta. And, he taught me one thing. He just, keep that elbow in, T, and just little things like that. And those things rubbed off, and I remember those things, and I always, when I call Kevin from time to time, I say, hey, man, I got to give you credit, dude. Keeping my elbow in, it really helped me improve my free throws. So we get a good kick out of that, But I think, the thing is, being from Detroit, but also playing for the University of Detroit, Mercy, I think that nobody can ever take that from me. I'll always say this again: playing at Callahan Hall is hollow ground. It's always been home, and I treasure it. I have never had any regrets. Being able to get my degree from Detroit, I was very blessed that my mom and dad didn't have to pay for me to go to college, because college is so expensive now, especially now. But being able to get my degree means a lot. It really does. And just knowing the people there, that fan base that was there, and it'll come back. They're gonna fill those stands again. They'll win. And I think Coach, Bakari Alexander is going to do a great job. And, it's just, they got to be committed. It's not easy. You got to prove yourself all over again. But I think he's capable of doing that. And for me, I'm proud of him, for better or for worse of it. I'm proud to be from there.
It's a terrific university, as you said already, Mr. Tyler. And I think Bakari's the right guy as well to lead the team in the right direction going forward at Detroit Mercy. And with that, once again, thank you very much for all your time, and we'll talk again soon and have to meet up soon in person once and for all.
That's the next. That is, Vito. That is our goal, man. We it's great to talk on the phone, but we gotta meet each other, dude.
It'll happen. I promise. It'll happen coming up soon. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much once again,
Vito,
and I'll talk to you.
Man. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.
All right, now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Detroit. Bye, University of Detroit Mercy.
And thank you once again to Mr. Terry Tyler for joining me for this special edition of the Detroit Sports Podcast, courtesy of Top Cat Sales.